Every great civilization in the history of the world has failed at some point. I'm sure that each thought they were different, that certainly their civilization would survive forever. History shows that such will probably not be the case. There is still a Rome. There is still a Russia. This book deals with a handful of people and how they survived the virtual elimination of the entire population of the continent of North America. We become victims of our own technology. This could happen. Chapter 1. The Beginning. First of all, I was 67 years old when the story began. I have the need to set down the words describing my view of certain events in the hopes that someday it will be read by someone. I had retired nearly 2 years earlier and moved to Mexico. I live near Lake Chapala, a popular destination for gringos like myself. The climate here is probably the best in the world. Most days it is 80 degrees Fahrenheit, a bit higher in May and June. It only rains in July and August, and then usually just at night. This is due to some meteorological phenomenon that I do not understand. It seemed that I had found paradise. I brought a blue jean-type jacket with me, which I had worn possibly 3 times in 2 years. Like many other retired people with too much time on my hands, I began drinking a bit more each day. I made up my mind not to succumb to this and began taking long walks in the foothills of the Sierras. This, I thought, would keep me in some sort of physical condition and would also keep me off the booze. In that respect, it worked marvelously. I have long been a dowser. This is a method used in times past by someone referred to as a water witch in determining where to dig a well. They used a forked willow stick, holding each side of the fork in a hand with the stick out in front of them. When they pass over water, the end of the stick will point to the ground. There is no magic or witchcraft in this. In fact, almost anyone can do it to some degree or another. I believe it is a body electricity phenomenon. This cannot be proven. Modern-day dowsers use a pair of wires. Actually, coat hangers will work. My wires are a bit over 2 feet long and are bent at a right angle at about 8 inches. I hold the wires against the back side of the first joint of my forefingers using my thumbs. The short side of the angle points down and the long side straight forward. The wires are parallel, about 2 inches apart. My grip on them is only enough to support them, and the horizontal side of the wire would be about 1 inch above my hands. I find it works better for me if my index fingers are touching. Some dowsers hold them slightly apart. When the dowser passes over anything under the ground that is not part of the ground, the wires will separate. Rocks are part of the ground. A coin, for example, is not. On this day, I was dowsing as I walked, and all of a sudden my wires spread very quickly, indicating a strong signal. I walked about 12 feet before the wires closed again. I had just passed over a cave or something very large under the ground.